should be super clear to you. Should be clear to you. So now let me just give a password to it and user. I don't want user to change it. Next. Okay, what happened? 10 characters. Think I changed this policy. Let me just give it again. Let's see if this worked. It worked. And I'll attach policy directly and I'll give admin access. You can give any access. And next, create user. Okay, so user is created. Now what I'll do is I'll log into this demo user in my another browser so that I can show the difference. Or that's not needed because anyways we have covered that. What else? Because anyways I have to show you today the AWS CLI part, and with the change in the permission of user, how access to AWS CLI will vary. That we'll learn today. So quickly, what I'll do is in AWS CLI. So have you all set up AWS CLI in your machine? Installed AWS CLI version 2?
No, sir, haven't installed CLI.
Oh, okay. But try to follow all the labs in the
Yes.
same day when I'm coding. Otherwise, you'll just start lagging. At some
Yes,
point
sir.
of time, things will be very confusing. Okay. So now in AWS CLI, the first thing which I'm going to do is I'll execute the command because you remember the error which I was getting yesterday. I was getting AWS IAM list users. So error which I was getting is okay, unable to locate credentials. And what I have to do, you can run credentials, you can configure credentials by running AWS configure command. So that is the first thing which I'm going to do. I'm going to execute the command AWS configure. As I do it, it is going to ask AWS access key ID, which will be different from username and password. Now you may ask me why AWS access key ID and why not username and password? Now, if you remember, when we were trying to log in by using our username and password, the normal practice which AWS asks us to follow is to apply MFA. Now, when we are doing it programmatically, when we are using a user interface, we do have the option to just put in the MFA or to generate the MFA prompt and put in the MFA as it comes to our authenticator app. But when we go it programmatically, when we are using command line interface, we won't have that option anymore to just get a pop-up on my or to just get a get OTP in our authenticator app and put that OTP there at at any of the place. We won't have that option anymore. So we have to just skip that part. We have to somehow bypass that part. So in order to bypass that part, what AWS says is you should not use your username and password anymore, which you have passed on while creating your user. Rather, you have to generate one access key ID and access key token. So instead of using username, password, the normal way to log in, username, password, and MFA, you have to generate one access key ID and access key token. Now, in order to generate access key ID and access key token, I'll go back to my users. And here is my user, demo user, which I created. Click on demo key user. Now I'll just go a bit slow here. I click on demo key user. Now there are multiple options, permissions, groups, tags. We have seen these all options. Now fourth option I'm going to introduce, which is security credential. Yesterday we have seen this also, security credential, while setting up MFA. Now, in this, I'll show you one more option, which is access keys. Now, you see the fourth option here is access key. I'm going to generate that credentials, which as of now, my AWS CLI is asking, which is access key ID by clicking on this option, which is access keys. I'll click on create access key. And as I click on create access key, it is asking me why do I need it? I need it for command line interface. And mostly we as in DevOps engineer, use it for command line interface only. So I'll choose this option. It says that use AWS Cloud Shell, which I'm going to show you in few minutes. Use AWS CLI version 2. Which version I do have? I do have version 2 only. Yesterday I saw that. And I understand the above recommendation and want to proceed to create an access key. And I check this box and I click on next. It is asking me to give a description tag value. You give it, you don't give it, doesn't matter. Now I'm going to create one access key. As I create access key, you see it gave one access key and it gave one secret access key. This is very confidential. I'm showing you because after the session I'll delete it. But do not share this access key or secret access key with anyone once you create your account. Because if you do so, anyone will have access, anyone will have control on your account, will be able to do anything on your account. So this is again a confidential data, should not be shared with others. Now I'm just copying it and pasting it. Under access key ID, I just pasted it. Under AWS secret access key, this is the secret access key. I'm copying it and pasting it. Now it asks for default region name. So this is basically the region which is closer to your location so that you can create all the resources which is closer, which perhaps lies in the same region or same availability zone, which is closer to you. So now I live in India. So for me, the closer location will be AP, which is in Mumbai. Where did you go? AP South 1. So I'm going to choose this option, AP South 1. And now it asks for default output format. If you're giving it none, that's okay. But I give JSON. Even though if you don't give it, that's okay. Now hit enter. As I hit enter, now you see I am able to log in. Now I'll execute same command AWS IAM list users. And as I hit this command, you see it's listing me everything. How many users? Demo user, Terraform user, whatever user, it's present there, it's showing me. I'll create one new user quickly so that I can show you whether it gets updated or not. Test user and provide access. If there's a custom password, 4, and I don't want to change it. Next, attach policy, IAM, read some access I'm giving, and next, and create user. User created. Now, if I list the command again, it should show me that user also, which I created, which it's showing. You see, so it's updating every time when you do that. And this is whose credential this is. This is the IAM user's credential, and it's showing because it is having proper rights. Now, if I remove those permissions from IAM user, if I remove those permissions from IAM user, so this is which user is this? This is the credential of demo user. I created the secret access ID and token of demo user, right? You see, username is demo user. For this, I have created the user ID, which is the one with which I'm logged in at this point of time. Now, this I'll remove the permissions from this user. So I'll remove the permissions. Now it's not having any permission. Now, if I execute the command, it will just, okay, still it's showing. Let's see. Okay, it says that access denied, which basically means because no identity based policy allows the IAM. So I think it took few seconds for the changes which I made to get applied, and now it's access denied. So quite the same thing which you are getting with by applying permissions, by removing permissions on user interface, same thing will be applied on command line interface also. So command line interface is nothing but whatever you will be able to do by using user interface with a user, you will be able to do quite the same thing by using your command line interface also. That we will learn as we will go on to the scripting part, as we will talk about some of the scripting in our upcoming sessions. When actually I'll start teaching you those DevOps related topics, you will see more of the usage of it, right? But is it clear till here? Any doubt till here? Okay, I'll take
Uh,
that as a no. Yeah, go
so,
ahead.
sir,
Yes, sir.
this key which you generated, so it's a unique one, right? I mean,
That's
we don't need to generate this every time. Just
no,
one
no, you
time.
don't. For
Ah,
one user, for your one user, till the time you do not delete that user, and till the time do not delete that access key and ID by your own, it will remain there.
And so, what right test user has now?
Test user is having list privileges.
Right, policy, like policy.
It's having the policy. I think it's I
Is
am
it
list
by
user.
default or
No, I assigned it. I am
oh,
read only
read
access.
only? Okay, fine. So, once we have a demo user with full rights, and if we created another user, we can customize it with read only or other permissions too.
Yeah, your wish. Like the way I explained before, you can have 10 users.
Okay. In
You
case of reverse, like once we have the read only access with the test user and want to create a another user with the admin rights, possible?
uh, now here is the thing. Like the way I was explaining when before, you can create user, you can modify permissions or rights to the user only either being a root user or being an admin user. Now,
Okay.
test user doesn't have that permission. It's just
Okay.
having the list user permission that even for IAM resources, it won't be able to, like the way I demonstrated even before, test user will not be able to create any user or will not be able to modify. But being a root user, you will be able to create another user or you will be able to modify permissions of test user also.
Yeah, got it. So we need at least admin or root rights to
Right.
create. Okay.
Right. We have seen that in a demo, right?
Yes,
In our
yes.
previous sessions. Same thing.
Thank you.
Any other question?
So, sir, we created this access key ID to have the CLI access.
To have access to CLI. Yes.
Okay. And we created this for only one user, demo user.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So now this is about AWS CLI. Try to practice more and more. Try to play around with it. As of now, try to use only IAM services. But it will be very much important for you to set up AWS CLI version 2 on your machine. Now, another thing which is by using which you will be able to use command line interfaces, Cloud Shell. So just beside this, and AWS CLI is something which you can set up on your machine. If you are a Mac user, if you are a Linux operating system user, if you're a Windows user, based on that, you will be able to set up AWS CLI of your own. Now, AWS also offers, but you say that you don't want to set up AWS CLI and you want to use a shell, some shell prompt, some black screen to manage any of the resource which is present in your, or any of the resource which you want to create, delete, manage in your AWS account. So AWS says that I also offer you one shell to which they call as Cloud Shell. Now, Cloud Shell opens when you click on this icon. So once you click on this, something like this opens. So I just kept it open to save some time. So now what happens is once you click here, as you will click here, this window opens and it takes some time for environment to set. Now, as it says, it's preparing terminal and all. So now what you see is it's opening in AP South 1 only, right? I mean, you can just change your region in case if you want to create in some other region, you just choose your region. And for example, someone lives in EU West 1. So what you will do, you will just choose some service from where you will be able to change your region because IAM is a global service. You can choose some other service from by using which you will be able to change your region, and as you change your region you will be able to open the cloud shell in that specific region only. For example, as of now I'm in Asia Pacific Mumbai. Say in case if you live in North Virginia, then you choose the option as US East 1. And being in US East 1, if you click on this cloud terminal, it will open your cloud terminal in US East 1 region. So being whatever region you are in, you click from there, it opens the cloud terminal in US in that region only, like US East 1. This I opened from AP South 1 because it's closer to my place. Now, this is like a shell. This is like a kind of Linux machine. which AWS offers you. Here I'm going to show you some very basic Linux command. Gradually we will go some hard on it. But to begin with, I'll show you some basic Linux command. Now, Linux, like the way what happens in case of Windows, in case if you want to list down all the files which is present in any folder, you just click on that folder, double click on that folder and list down. But you don't have any option to, you don't have any mouse to click on a Linux machine. Normally, Linux machine is a black screen, like the way you're seeing in front of me at this point of time. Now, here to list down all the file which is present, we do have a command called ls. ls stands for list. As of now, it doesn't have anything because just now I opened it. So ls is the command to list down all the files or a folder which is present in any specific folder. Now, in terms of Windows, we call it as a folder. The folder is called a folder, is where all the files or multiple other folders could be present. There is a similar name of folder in case of Linux to which we call as directory. Right, I'll give a kind of cheat sheet for command also in Linux for you all to practice so that you can practice it well, because gradually when we start working on more of the shell script, more of the scripting thing, then those commands will be very helpful for you. So now in this case, ls, like the way I was saying, is going to list down all the files and directories which is present within the directory. Folder is called directory in case of a Linux machine. ls is the list command. Now pwd is the command which shows present working directory. Like in Windows, if I ask you, okay, fine, which folder you are in, then you will click on this bar and you will say that I am in downloads folder. Or any other folder, if I ask you into, you will just click on this bar and you will say this folder I am into. Now quite the same thing is in case of Linux also. You execute pwd. Pwd's full form is present working directory. It shows me present the directory which I'm working at this point of time. Present working directory. It's just the short form of that. ls is the short form of list. Okay. So now what you get in Cloud Shell. Now, in case of Cloud Shell also, you get same sort of say we will be able to perform same sort of things like the way you will be able to perform by using your AWS CLI, which you set up in your Windows machine. In my Windows machine, I set up AWS CLI. I was able to execute some of the commands. Same set of command you will be able to execute from here also. So if I do list -user, but now I'm a root user. Sorry for typo. AWS IAM list users. Now see, I'm a root user and I am able to list everything, all the users which is there. So anything which I can do from my command line interface, which I set up in my local machine, quite the same sort of activity I'll be able to perform by using Cloud Shell. But what the benefit you will get on your AWS CLI, which you set in your local, is you will be able to write some script which you can manage outside your AWS Management Console. To use Cloud Shell, you have to log in into AWS Management Console, which many a times you won't have access to. Because I have worked in my situations wherein I had access only I had permissions only to access AWS resources by executing some CLI command, and I did not have permissions to open those management consoles. In such cases, your AWS CLI will help. But in case if you do have permissions to open to log in into management console and you want to execute command from there, Cloud Shell is the best option. Okay. And another thing which you can do, Cloud Shell offers another properties of Cloud Shell is to Cloud Shell offers you the feature to change this font, to change this screen color also. So here there is a lever symbol. So if you want to reduce the font, you can just change the font from largest, large, medium, small, smallest. So in case if I want to change the font, I choose the font as small and click on confirm. You see the font changes. If you want to change the color from dark to light, you can do that also. You see the color also changed. So you will be able to just make any changes on the font, any changes on your terminal color by clicking on this. Another thing which you can do is you will be able to download some files from this Cloud Shell to your local machine also. For example, I'll write a very small script. This is my first file. Just a small script. I'll explain everything going forward, and I'll push this in data.txt. Now, what it has done, it has created a file, which is data.txt, and the content of this file is data.txt. This is my first file. So the content of this file is, this is my first file. Now, this file is not present in my local machine. You see, if I go to downloads and if I refresh my downloads folder, you see this file is not present. Now, if I want to download this file, and I'm just giving an example, there could be some bigger file also. Now, if I want to download this file from, and this is Cloud Shell, this is something which is on AWS Management Console. If I want to download it and I bring it in my local machine, I just need to click on Actions and click on Download File and enter the path from where I want to download. So let me just copy the path. This is the path, and in this path I have a file which is with the name download.txt. So let me just copy the path, download file, and in this file the name of the file is data.txt, and download it. Okay, see, it has downloaded it. And now if I come here in my downloads folder, can you see this? Data.txt is present. And if I open it, it's the same thing. This is my first file. So I'm able to download the file which I created on my AWS Management Console, and I can bring it to my local also. That is also possible. Another thing which I can do is I can upload the file also. Say if I create a file in my local machine, I'll create a file in my local machine. This is a file in my local machine, and I save it. And I save it with some other name, maybe data1.txt. Save it. Now I don't have this file present in my Cloud Shell. I want to upload it, and that file is present only in my local machine. I want to upload it. In order to upload, I click here, choose the file, open, and it says uploading file. File uploaded successfully. I do ls, and the file is present here. I do cat command just to display the content of the file. This is my file. This is a file in my local machine. So yes, you will be able to download the file from your Cloud Shell. You will be able to upload file onto your AWS by using Cloud Shell. Also, you will be able to execute any of the AWS command by using a Cloud Shell. You can change the region from whichever region you are logged in, you are connected to at this point of time. From there, when you open the terminal, this terminal will be available in that region itself. Okay, so now it might happen that the terminal is not opening from any specific region. There are certain specific regions. This terminal is not available in all the regions. So in case if you will see AWS Cloud Shell, at least when Cloud Shell availability regions. So AWS Cloud Shell is not available in all the regions. So AWS did not offer Cloud Shell facility in all the region, but I think it has given to many of the regions now. Out of 32 regions, only in these regions, I don't know if the count is 32, but as far as I know, AWS does not support Cloud Shell from all the regions. And if you can just count, if it's lesser than 32, then those are the regions from where Cloud Shell is not available at this point of time. Okay, so this is about Cloud Shell. Any question in this?
Sir, the command you mentioned echo, this is my first file. Is this Linux command, echo one?
Yeah, it's a Linux. I'll explain. No problem.
Okay, and before this page, you said like it is showing, I mean, admin user, how you identify when we see the number of users, we found 3 users. Then how we identify it is logged by the admin user?
You see the
Where
right top?
to see? Okay,
Right top.
from
This is my
okay,
admin
not from
user.
the command section. Okay, yeah, it is always showing this thing.
Yeah. So
Okay.
from this user only I can see.
And it is also available with the other users apart from the root or the admin user.
Yes,
Everyone
yes,
can go for
yes,
PowerShell.
yes. Cloud Shell. So Cloud Shell will be
Yeah,
available
Cloud
to,
Shell.
yeah, any user who has login access to
Hmm.
AWS Management Console will will be able to see this Cloud Shell.
And
Okay.
sir, what was the other shell we were working
Uh,
on?
this this is the my PowerShell, my local machine. So you see, this is my name appearing here. So this is my machine. In my machine, I do have PowerShell because mine is Windows machine, and I installed AWS CLI version 2 in my machine, and from there I was able to execute command.
So why do we, if we have PowerShell, why do we need to install AWS CLI?
Because in PowerShell, normally what happens in Windows, in order to access any application, you need some software. If you don't install AWS CLI, which is a software to access AWS resources, AWS API, you won't be able to establish that connectivity. What happens basically?
Okay.
In order to access any of the resources, you have to just send one API request. That API request is carried from your machine to AWS Management Console by using the software. And that software is AWS CLI, who understands the command. Like if you have seen, while executing the command, I typed AWS and then the name of the service, IAM, and what I want to do it there, list user. Now my Windows machine won't understand this AWS command until unless I install AWS CLI software. That is the reason it's needed.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other question? Okay, cool. So in that case, let's move on to the last topic of IAM, which is roles. Though we'll see the practical usage of role when I'm covering the topic as EC2, but let me just explain what role is. Till this time, what we have done, we have logged in into management console, and we were trying to create some resources. We as in human, we're trying to access certain resources by our own intelligence. But now what happens is many times you are present in a machine, perhaps connected to a virtual machine, and from that virtual machine you are trying to access certain other resources. From that virtual machine you are just running some script, and you are saying that this virtual machine should be accessing some other resource. For example, if you have your web application what is web application? Web application is the application which is hosted on website. Web application. Web is the website. So web application, web is the website. Let me just open my notepad. So what is basically a web application? If whenever I'm talking, and I'll use this term a lot in our session. So we are going to talk about web apps a lot. So what is web application? In web application, web says that anything which is available on web, and apps is nothing but this is anyways application, right? This is anyways application. So anything which is available on website is a web application. So now in order for web application, say I have created a web application and you are a user. Now, what you will say, perhaps the web application which I have created is some e-commerce website, maybe some abc.com, like amazon.com. I've created some abc.com, and this abc.com is e-commerce website. Now, this e-commerce website will have a username, some password. Now, when you punch in your username and password, it will just retrieve your credential information from some database. So I'll have a web server in the first place. So the first thing which I'll have to have is a web server. This web server will have some connection with some sort of database. Some database will be there, some storage will be there, and this web server will retrieve your information, some user information from database. Now, what is happening? This web server is some virtual machine. Consider this web server is some virtual machine, and this is some other thing, maybe some RDS or maybe some Postgres, something is there. Postgres, something is there. So now this VM internally is talking with RDS and is fetching information, fetching your information. I'm not logging into RDS as a human. This VM is connecting to RDS and pulling in your information from there. No manual intervention, no human intervention is there. Now, machine is talking with other machine. Service is talking with other service. So for human to access, yes, you have to create a user account. You have to assign privileges to user account. But for VM to communicate, for a service to communicate with another service, you need some non-human, you need non-human thing, some non-human thing, and that non-human thing to which we call as a role. So what is role? Role, like the name says, I am inheriting that role. And as I inherit that role, I'll get all the powers which that role is having. Right? For example, if someone inherits the role of prime minister or president of a country, the role is having power. The human did not had any power. The role had power, and as the human has inherited that role, whatever the permissions were granted that to that role will be passed on to the user also. Same thing happens. We will create a role. We will, like the way we assign permissions to a human while creating a user, we will create a role, and whoever inherits that role will gain power. We'll see the practical usage when I'm creating a EC2 instance. But for now, I will show you how to create a role. But is it clear what does role mean and why it's in need in the first place?
What is Postgres here? I'm not aware.
It's a database. Just the name of a database. It's a type of a database. RDS
Type
stands
of
for relational
database.
database. Postgres stands for Postgres. It's a type of database.
And what are
Yes,
the
sir.
function of these?
These are just like, for example, the main purpose of database is to save the data. Maybe it's actually called as schemas, and your data will be present somewhere in some storage devices. So these are some databases which contains, for example, I'll give you a very simple example. Say if you're working in a company ABC. Company ABC is having hundreds or thousands of users. Now, if I being a security person, or if I being the admin person, want to find the details of Ashwani, where Ashwani lives, what is the location of Ashwani, phone number of Ashwani, employee ID of Ashwani, what the role of Ashwani is, I'll run a query. Select Ashwani from all users in this domain in this project. I'll run a query. And as I run the query, it goes and it tries to find your detail from some storage where all the information is saved. This RDS Postgres allows me to run those queries by some special keys. So you can say this RDS or database contains all the schemas, which is internally linked to some storage devices from where data is pulled. So it's a database. You can just Google RDS Postgres database.
Okay.
You will understand it.
So,
Yes,
sir,
Shahid.
roles are assigned to services.
Yes, absolutely right. Not humans. Like when we create,
Role assigned to services or users?
not to users. That's what I said, no? It's a non-human. Users are human. Here, you see? Here I mentioned, no? This part. Roles are only for non-human. Roles are always non-human. This is not human. For human, what we do? We have created users, right? We have created users for human user. But for non-human, for this service, to communicate with this service, we are going to use role.
Okay.
Got it clear, Shakil?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see. One of there. Vaibhav, is it clear? Are you getting it?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. So now you will see it when I'll demonstrate it in EC2 while I'm creating EC2. You will see it, the usage also. But for now, what I'll do is I'll create a role, and this role I'll keep saved. And when I'm working on EC2 creation, then I'll use the same role which I'm creating today and will show you. So now I do have already the roles which I created in past. Now some of the roles I'll create for you. So now with this role, so what I've done, let me just go back again. I clicked on roles, and then I do have the option to click on create role. Now this role is what I want to do. I want to allow AWS services like EC2, Lambda or others to perform action in this account. So this role will be inherited, will be used, can be used by EC2, Lambda or other services. And there are other usages also. We'll gradually see it. So as of now, let's choose AWS service. Which AWS service? I want to choose EC2. And there could be multiple options. I'm going to just choose AWS EC2, which is the most commonly used service. Now, once I choose EC2, click on next. Now, what type of permission I want to grant? Whoever inherits that role, whichever EC2 instance inherits this role, will get admin access to access any of the other. I can choose anything. Now you see the policies are very much similar. The way you have assigned policy to a user, policies are very much similar, which is assigned to this role. It is not assigned to any user. It is not assigned to any service at this point. I'm just creating a role, and whoever inherits that role, and only non-human user will be able to inherit this role. Whoever inherits this role will gain this power. Now, just check the box as admin access. You can give any permission. You can give list user permission. You can give read user permission. I'm giving admin access to this role which I'm creating. Click on next. Give a role name. So I'll say demo EC2 and allow EC2 instance to call AWS services. You see what it says? It allows EC2 instance, not a human. It allows EC2 instances only to call AWS services on your behalf, on a user's behalf. It will allow EC2 instance to call any of the other AWS services. You see the policy is also very similar. Version is the version of the language which is used to write this. Statement is mandatory component. Effect is allow. Action is assume role. Whoever assumes this role, now the action is different than it was before. The principle is which service is can inherit this. Principle is which service will be able to inherit this. This role cannot be inherited by any other service. This role can be inherited by a service which is known as EC2, which I'm going to talk about in few minutes. This can be inherited only by EC2 service. And now, as I click on create role, it will create a role for me. Any question in understanding this? It can be a bit complicated to understand now, but gradually as you will practice, I actually want you to create 3 to 4 roles today after the session, once the session is over, so that you can understand what you're doing with this role. Okay, so now click on create role. As I click on create role, it has just created a role which is demo ECT. I'm not going to use this role to any of the resource at this point. As I'll show you EC2, I'll use the same role and I'll show you the benefit of creating a role or associating a role, or how to associate a role to any of the instance. So this is about role, and this is the end of your IAM service. Any question from anywhere in IAM service?
Sir,
Yes, please.
so EC2, you created this role for EC2,
Absolutely, yes.
and EC2 will have access to all services.
Yes.
So where did we define that it will have access to all services?
Yeah. So when I created this role I have assigned the permission, admin access. Now this permission is having everything. See,
Okay, so this admin access permission means everything.
everything.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
So this is where I assigned this permissions. Under
Got it.
permission, I have assigned it. Any other question? Anywhere in IAM? Okay, cool. So now we are moving into services which can be expensive for you, which can incur certain cost to you. Now, till here, whatever we have seen, we have created user, we have created roles, we have created policy. For this, AWS does not charge users. But from now onwards, whatever resource we are going to create will incur some cost. but anyways, you are in free tier category. Another thing which you can do is, which normally any of the organization do, and which normally we do is, we set a budget. We set a budget for our account. Now, how do we set a budget for our account? You can set a budget either by being a root user or by being a admin user. Now, in order to show you that, what I'll do is I'll assign admin permissions to this user, which is demo user, and I'll log in with that. Add permissions, add policies
So, sir, you were
directly.
saying that IAM service is free.
Free. Yes.
Okay.
Anything which you do with IBM does not incur any cost. Okay, so I have created a user, demo user, and the permission which I assigned to this user is admin user. I wanted to show you this because I wanted to demonstrate you that you will be able to create setup budget only with admin user and root user, and that even with admin user also, that even with IM user, you have to have some permissions granted, which can be granted by root user. So root user has maximum privileges. After root user, admin user, and below admin user, all other user comes. So now I'm logged in again, not to confuse. I'm logged in this browser, which is with white I'll say top, is technical, and which is with the name technical training, is my root user. Now I'll open one incognito window, which is a black screen. In this screen, I'll be logging in as a IM user, which is my demo user. So let me quickly log in. And when I log in, I need the username and password. Username is this only. Okay, I want to log in as a IM user. It's asking for 12 digit. Okay, let me just copy it directly from here. So I'll go to dashboards, sign in URL, paste in here. So I'm logging in as a IM user to show you the difference. And this budgeting is very much important, because with budgeting, you will be able to say, in case for some reason, though, if you'll follow my session properly, I'll give you all the tips so that you won't have to pay anything. But for some reason, if you missed, then also you won't have to pay huge amount of money, because I saw some of the candidates paying lakhs of Indian rupees because they left some resources unused for a very, very long period of time. So don't do that. Set up budget. That's what I recommend to all my students who joins in my session. Set your budget so that you get notified as you hit threshold, or as you are hitting, or as you are exceeding whatever limit you have set in. So now the IM user is demo user, and password is this. Oh, what? Oops. Okay, forgot the password. Very good. Users, demo user. Let me just do this. Manage console access. Reset password. Let me quickly reset my password. Hmm.
So this is the root user that can reset the password
Yes, right.
for For this demo user
Yes.
account. Okay.
Yes. Only root user can reset password for any other IAM user. IAM user won't have permission to reset their own password.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'm logging in. What happened? Okay, so now I'm logged in here as a root user. In this screen as a root user, in that screen I'm logged in as an IAM user. Now the option to reset the budget I'll be opening first, or set up the budget I'll open first from my demo user. So this is my demo user. Like the way you can see the right top, it's a written demo user. In the black window shows I'm a demo user. So now I click on this drop down again, and here there is something to which we call as billing and cost management. I click here. So by default, even any of the IAM user, even the IAM user who is having admin privileges also won't have access to budget and to see bills and to manage cost. The root user has to grant permission to IAM user who is having admin privileges also. Now you see, it says access denied, access denied, access denied, access denied. Even though I'm an admin user at this point of time, still I'm unable to see it. So root user has to grant permissions to admin user also. So what root user, in order to grant permission to any of the IAM user, what we have to do from root user, I click on billing and cost management. And now I'm in root user category. And now from the root user, I'll grant permission to all the IAM user, who is having admin privileges to just perform the activity. Where is that? Add alternate billing contact and all one monitor active. Provide feedback. Let's see dashboard. Normally we have that option to checkbox here. Let's see. Just quickly trying to find that option. Means of which there's just a checkbox which we need to check. Not sure, for some reason I'm not getting it. Month to date, budget status, view bill, create cost optimization, alternate billing contact, analyze cost coverage, provide reset layout. Okay. For some reason, I'm not getting that checkbox here to see that, which should be there. Okay, I'll see that and I'll let you know. Okay, so for now, say I'm again a root user. Sorry, I'm unable to show you that because there is a checkbox which I'm unable to see here on my console, which once checked allows permission to admin user to view this, but I'll find it and I'll show it to you. So now, in order to set the budget, because that is very much important, you have to set a budget for your account. And once you set up the budget for your account, it is applied to all the IAM users. Any of the IAM user which you have created in this account will have to follow same budget status. Now, budget can be set either by a root user or by an admin user. No third user will be able to set that up. Now, in order to set up budget, what you have to do is you have to click on this under budgets and planning. You have to click on budgets. Now you have to click on budget. In under budget, you see an option which says create a budget. And I strongly suggest you to create a budget today itself for yourself, because for I think billing view. Hmm. So I strongly suggest you to set this up because from now onwards, whatever resource we are going to create will incur some cost. So now the budget setup, AWS offers some predefined template to set up a budget. What are the templates? Zero spend budget, which is as you hit as you hit $0.00101, which is 1 penny, you will get a notification email. As you are hitting, it's like zero spend budget. That basically means you are going to spend nothing. So as you are hitting $0.01, which is 1 penny, you will start getting email. Now, in order to set up zero spend budget, you just need to give your budget a name and email address. For example, I give my email address as this. Whatever email address you're getting, that email address will start getting email as you hit the threshold. Now you create the budget. As you create the budget, it says that my zero budget, and the budget is I think it should be 0.01 0.01, yeah, 0.01, which is that's what it says, right? The amounts is zero. Okay, the range is till $1, and till $1 you will be able to spend without getting any notification under my zero spend budget. As you start using any resource for which AWS charges you, if you fall in free tier limit, that's fine. But as your free tier limit exceeds, and even the single penny which you spend will send a notification to your email, right? So this will be your my zero spend budget. This is one of the many types of budget which you can set. Another type of budget which you can set is monthly cost budget. Say in case if you say that you can give any name. It's not a mandatory that you have to choose the name which is offered, which is recommended by AWS only. You can change the name and you can just set the limit for yourself. For example, per month, I want to spend $10 and I set a notification email address again. So what it is going to do? It is going to send me an email when your actual spend reaches 85%. That basically means as I spend $8.5 of my money, it will send me it will send my first email. And then when actually I spent entire $10, it will send me an email. Also, AWS, what it does is based on the AI, based on the artificial intelligence which AWS has, AWS pre-calculates and gives a kind of forecasted estimation to you that yes, by the end of this month, you will end up spending this much amount of money. If your forecasted spend also reaches your monthly budget, then also you will start getting email notification. And I'll create a budget for this. Like this way, you will be able to set up your daily budget also, daily saving plan coverage, daily reservation utilization budget. You will be able to set up your daily limits also, daily limit for each service, daily limit for cost also you can set. This is the template which AWS offers you. There are some customized template also. Customized template based on the cost which you are going to incur, usage on your service, but it will be more or less very similar. For example, cost budget recommended. Again, it will set up, okay, fine, what is the name of your budget? Monthly, you want to spend starting from which month and what the amount, quite the way you saw in template, but here you do have more customizable options which you can set, which you can provide from which month you are going to start, how you want to track it, everything you will be able to send. For our course, I'll suggest you to use the monthly budget for yourself and set up the limit somewhere in between $5 to $10, not more than that, because you don't want to spend much of the money, even though if you want to forget deleting any of the resource which you create, which is a kind of payable one. Any doubt in this in budgeting?
So, sir, if we went over budget, the service doesn't get closed down automatically?
No, it doesn't close. It
Okay.
sends you notification. It doesn't close. Because if it closes, then actually it's risky. Because normally what happens in organizations is, even though we get a notification that, hey, this is the cost, perhaps our production applications are working on those services. And because tomorrow once you log in, you can just increase the budget. But in case if the application is closed, then it will cost you a lot.
So, sir, what is the recommended way for us?
A recommended way,
Because
like the way I
we are
said,
learning just.
yeah, you set a budget, set a monthly budget, and set the estimation as $5 to $10, not more than that. Now, do not set daily budget, otherwise you'll keep getting notification in case if it hits. Set a monthly budget for yourself.
Okay, and it is not providing any platform to the beginners or learners, like free of cost.
No, this is free of cost. You're getting, I think, 6 months free.
Okay, then what is it? 5 to 10 USD per
For
month.
e- for example, what AWS says is, if you're creating a EC2 instance, then AWS offers you 750 hours of EC2 instance usage in a month. Now, for some reason, if you're creating one EC2 instance, fine, you won't cross, because in a month we do have 720 hours only. But if you have created 3 or 4 instances and you left it open for say 20 days, then it will go beyond 750 hours. Then AWS will start charging you, right? Which you should not do in the first place. But if you do it, and for some reason if you forgot it, AWS will remind you that, hey, you have kept it open and it's costing you. Do you want to continue with that? Do you want to close it? This is the benefit of
Mhm.
setting a budget.
Okay, and you are going to tell us about the EC2 instance, how to close it,
Yeah,
how
yeah,
to
yeah,
open it. Okay,
yeah, yeah, everything. Yeah.
okay, fine.
Any other question? Okay, cool. So now let's start the topic, which will be, we have only 1 to 2 minutes left, but I'll at least start our EC2 instance topic. So now the next which we will talking about is EC2. So what is EC2? I'll take you nearly 2 decades back. 2 decades back, when companies were emerging, when IT industry actually were in a kind of developing phase, and we're mostly depending on infrastructure which is managed by them, managed by IT industry. They had data centers. In the data centers, they had servers. In the servers, they had physical hardware servers, and there were lots of challenges to IT industry because market was growing. Customers were getting more and more techy. We nowadays you would have heard about this term a lot, Gen Z, the tech, because we nowadays teenagers, or nowadays we are inclining more towards technology. Companies are inclining more towards technology. We want to go to online to purchase any stuff rather than visiting to any physical stores, because we want to do things more digitally. We are using digital payments, we are using digital access to our banking servers. So these are more like we want to go online rather than working offline. This is current situation, and it was emerging nearly a decade or more than a decade ago. Now, before that, companies were struggling and were keeping all their applications data on on-premise servers only, which were maintained by them. Now, in that case, when when the customer's spike was huge, when the customer's requirement was huge, by that time, many of the websites you would have noticed, in case if you have worked by that time, were crashing. We would have experienced slowness in loading websites and all. It was happening because the capacity of server were not matching with the load which customers were putting on the servers. That is where servers were getting crashed or there was slowness in the servers. Now things changed a lot. And with this change, cloud came up and cloud said that, okay, fine, I'll take care of everything. Now, what is EC2? EC2 is something to which we call as virtualization on top of physical server. Now, AWS, Azure, many of the cloud vendor came and they said that instead of you managing your own servers, I'll manage servers for you. Whenever you need any server, I'll provide it to you. And in case for any of the server issues, for any of the performance issues, for any of the outage issues, you lose customers, I'll pay for you. So now AWS is taking that responsibility also, so that customers, so that clients, so that companies are very relaxed, wherein they no need to manage servers, underlying servers. It's entirely the problem of AWS. And AWS is going to pay penalty also in case of some outage, in case of some customers data loss. Everything is managed by AWS. EC2 is a virtualization service which is offered by AWS, by means of which we create virtual machines. So what is EC2? EC2 is one of the most popular AWS offering, by means of which we are able to create resources. We are able to create virtual machine on the physical server, which is entirely managed by Amazon Web Services AWS data centers. So AWS do have their data centers across 32 geographical locations in world. More than 178 availability zones are there across the globe where AWS data centers are present. There they have spent millions of dollars to create, to build in servers, storages and all. And those all servers and storages are offered to customers. Servers are offered to customers in the form of a service to which we call as EC2. EC2 is a virtual machine. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud, which is infrastructure as a service. This service is completely managed by us. We, being the customer, completely take care of our own infrastructure by having just a virtual machine offered by AWS. Now, AWS is offering me a virtual machine. AWS is not installing any software for me. AWS says that it's I'm offering you EC2 as infrastructure as a service. You will be able to install any of the software, anything by your own. I'll just take care of infrastructure. Remaining all the software part is your responsibility. On top of that, on EC2, it offers you capability by means of which you are able to rent the virtual machines. You pay as you go, you pay whatever resources you are using to AWS, whatever you are using, and whatever type of operating system you are going to use. It offers wide variety of operating system. Whatever you are going to use, you have to pay to AWS if you are not falling under free tier. See, we are learners, so we use free tiers, but companies don't use free tiers. They pay for whatever they use. That is the contract in between AWS and companies. Also, for storing all the data, AWS says that you will be able to associate whatever data you want to store by using your EC2 as a service. I'll offer you a associated service to it, to which we call as Elastic Block Storage, EBS, which is nothing but like a drive. You will be able to mount these EBS volumes as a drive to your virtual machine, where actually your data will be present. So EC2 is a virtual machine like a KVM, like keyboard, video, and mouse. And underlying storage device which is holding your data, which is on which your data is actually hosted, actually data is mounted, is EBS. Now, ELB and ASD, I'll explain in very detail in upcoming sessions, because these are very much important topic, ELB and ASD. But let's stop today here only in a kind of basic understanding of what EC2 and EBS is. We'll see the demo of our EC2 and EBS in our tomorrow session. But any questions till here?
Is it
Okay.
like VMware?
It's VMware is a software, virtualization software. So it's not a VMware. It's a VM, virtual machine.
ESXi, like that?
Again, ESXi is also a virtualization software. With ESXi, you will create virtual machines.
Because we run it on the hardware ESXi,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
VMware is like a software part that run on the Windows.
With ESXi, you will be able to create your virtual machine on different types of servers. Like I think before that we had different distributions of Linux also, like other than Ubuntu. Because
Yeah,
normally for Ubuntu, to create Ubuntu or to create Red Hat or to create CentOS, we use VMware. but there is a specific term for ESXi. I forgot that. That even does not exist now. It is completely deprecated. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not even in use.
So, so sir, the EBS is on EC2?
EBS is like a pen drive which you put in your laptop. So EBS is
Okay.
not on EC2. It can be associated to EC2,
Okay.
but it is virtual. It's not physical. Any question? Okay, then thanks
Yeah,
for
okay.
today. Let's connect again tomorrow. Hope you are
Yes.
liking the
Sir,
session.
what time tomorrow?
Same time.
10 a.m. IST.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so let's connect again tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll see more practicals on EC2. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.